Whew, all right. This thing all anchored in good enough. There we go. Back again. End of the day this time. It definitely feels like it's the end of the day. So much going on these days, isn't there? But we just finally got back from being the next town over where the Costco is. Got the shop done. And Sarah went to another store because I guess on Tuesdays she gets more points for her thingamaboober app, whatever it is. Then she kind of screwed up. She just got back a few minutes ago to get the rest of the food bought. And I go, did you get lots of points? She goes, no, I screwed up. It's not till next Tuesday. I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, well, because it's the big deal. When we got back, she goes, were you going to come to the other grocery store with me? I'm like, what, today? We got to go today? I want it tomorrow. She goes, no, it's the points day. And I'm like, oh, God, no. She goes, I can handle it. I'll go. I'm like, okay. And it wasn't until next Tuesday. Kind of funny, eh? You know, I told you guys the YouTube notifications hit the screen of my phone. When they hit it, I do a pretty good job of not even paying attention in the odd time. And, of course, it's always when some dick gets on there. You know, I threw a quick photograph post. I posted a quick photograph of the food, the kids' food, just to let everybody know it's still ripping, right? We're doing as we say we're doing with everybody's few bucks they donate at the end of the month or whatever it is. Somebody has to get on there and say some shitty comment. Isn't it amazing how there's a lot of real miserable, angry people on the planet, isn't there? It's kind of weird to see. But I've known that for a long time, and like I said before, you could post up a 30-second video of puppies and ice cream and candies and kids, whatever. Butterflies. I don't give a shit. Gardens. Somebody's gonna need to, I don't know, throw down their misery. It's a very sad, weird thing to watch. I thought we'd pretty well sifted through all the miserable people that came here. So weird to see. Now you're just feeding a whole bunch of hungry kids, making sure everybody knows we're on it today, and that made somebody feel the need to shit on it. So weird. Oh well, sucks to be them. Thank God we're not. Now, moving along. This is all recent. All right, fresh out of the box, the inbox. This email is titled Northern BC Hunter and Some Advice on Fear. All right. Hey, Steve. I felt compelled to share this. I hope you read it on the channel, and I'm sorry if it's long-winded, but I will add punctuation to make it easier. All right, man. Let her rip. As long as you write in, I don't care. I'll figure it out. I'm 41, and I live on the north coast of BC. I've hunted, fished, camped since I was little. I've been a follower for a long time, and I have zero doubts about any of the experiences shared here. You actually read an email I sent in on one of your previous videos, probably back in 2020 or 2021. Anyways, I wanted to reach out again with a few more stories and hopefully some advice for your channel followers. So I'd mentioned in that previous email that I've hunted and backpacked all over the mountains in northern BC, usually solo, just my dog along with me, and I never once felt any type of fear. Even in the worst grizzly country, I sleep like a baby. But I mentioned that I found a couple of places that seriously bothered me when I was there. Just a unnatural feeling of dread or unease with no justifiable reason. These are special places, I've come to find out, with very powerful energy to them, among other things. Fast forward a few years to now. I live now pretty much off-grid, alone with my new dog at a semi-remote property north of Terrace, BC. It's a secluded coastal forest. This past fall, September 2024, I started having visits from barred owls during the daytime, regularly. You know yourself as a serious outdoorsman how rare it is to see an owl during the day. Well, these ones would land on the roof of my cabin and follow me as I hiked through the timber on my property, flying beside me and my dog, and landing on the low branches of trees to wait for me. Very strange and also amazing. The owls brought an overwhelming sense of calm and quiet with their presence. I feel they are guides and guardians. But, yet, in these same woods, I will often hear screams that echo through the timber loud enough to pierce my ears, and tree breaks. It is not people playing pranks, as no one can access my place safely, I think, through my neighbor's road access. And it's usually when I'm walking to or from my cabin in the dark, which is more remote on the property and has no road access. These sounds will really get your heart pumping. Recently, I moved my fifth wheel trailer to the property to stay in during the summers. I can drive to it, so it makes a lot of things easier. And now at nights, I've had occurrences of something large banging on the side of the trailer, and it is not human. Any people around know better than to sneak in here to do that to me unless they enjoy a 12-gauge buckshot to the rib cage. But I've also had other weird issues that I won't describe. My dog is 4-year-old, 90-pound, intact male bull mastiff / lab cross. Pure savage. And is one hell of a guard dog, and he's always with me. He'll often give a low growl and hackle up before any of this banging occurs, so I usually know when something will happen. But I've learned to stay calm and ignore these things and not go inspect for the culprit or become angry to react or leave in fear. I just accept them and carry on. I have a good dog and I have guns at hand. You don't need much more. But the point I want to make, and I hope your listeners and followers heed, is don't give in to fear. Never ever give in to being afraid. Get a good guarding breed dog and keep him with you. A dog will save your life over and over. When these things happen, if you feel you're being somewhat harassed, unless it comes down to physical harm or the like, ignore them and carry on with your life and your day-to-day. These beings thrive on instilling fear to control us, kind of like the Canadian government. If you let it bother you, it will ruin you. If you have encounters or experiences out in the bush in your hunting areas or whatever, don't let it ruin your lifestyle or your passions. Hell, pray for protection if you need to. Don't underestimate that. I've heard too many times on this channel of hardened outdoorsmen being an experience, having an experience and then deciding to stay out of the woods out of fear. Never do that. Keep doing what you love to do and act accordingly to whatever threats you come across. But don't quit doing the things you love to do. Get a good dog. Keep an axe and a shotgun handy if it makes you sleep better. I know it does for me. And carry on. Don't fear. Act accordingly and just stay your course. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome at my fire anytime. Also, attaching a couple pics of my local barred owl friends. That's really, really interesting that they follow you. I mean, I've had barred owls go ahead of me on the quad at times, but I think I'm just pushing them through the right of way where they're hunting over the grass. Cool. They're really good photo ops too when you do bump into them, right? Maybe you might have seen the video of I videotaped that one right beside me, stomping right into the snow and grabbing that mouse. Those are really crazy photos. Look at the face in that thing. And of course, guaranteed you, there's going to be a lot of people saying that somebody is watching you through the eyes of the owls. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know the owl to ask him and be told a smooth answer to the question. Maybe. But anyway, appreciate that email, man. I love it when people encourage people to do what they love to do no matter what. Don't be afraid. That is the key. That's the key to all life, is not being scared. It really, truly is. Don't you think? Don't you think? I mean, think about it. If you and all you know and your family did not fear anything, this government wouldn't even exist. And that's a fact. If they did exist, it would be good people. Appreciate that. Keep me posted. Excuse me. Now, oops, what did I just do here? Next, regarding posted photo, Dear Steve, my name is Barb from Wisconsin. This email is in response to a picture you recently shared of a trail cam picture from the past, asking if anyone had seen anything like it. My family lives in a swampy, wooded area. In February 2022, my grandson, who was 21 years old at the time, was walking in our woods when he saw something unexplainable that scared him. When he returned to the house, he asked us if anyone had been in the woods in the last half hour or so. We all replied no. We'd been sitting at the table talking. From the look on his face, we knew he had seen something that had terrified him. He was walking in the snow-filled woods when he saw the being moving away from him. My grandson froze and started backing up slowly, watching it until it disappeared. He was afraid to take his eyes off it. The creature he saw was white. He couldn't tell if it was wool or hair that was covering it, and it was about 8 feet tall. It was moving through the woods quickly, clearing large logs with ease and flailing its arms, which were longer than a human's, and went below its knees. I asked him if he could draw a picture of what he saw. I have attached his drawing. Excuse me. And at the time, he drew a circle around the feet because the feet were nothing like he had ever seen before. When I showed him the picture that you had on your YouTube episode, he obviously recognized what he was looking at. No way. He also said that the feet are exactly like he remembers them. Thank you for letting me share my story. I love listening to you and appreciate all you do to bring our stories and facts forward. Thank you and keep up the good work, Barb. Holy shit, Barb. No way. That's crazy. All right, so let's start off with the photo. And this is way back at the beginning, you guys, when that woman sent the trail camera photo in from a rural property, right? Remember? Now here's the drawing. Kind of spooky, isn't it? Kind of creepy. Wow. There you go. It's funny, no matter how crazy something may seem, how unbelievable something may seem, as long as we get told and shown and we share it here, the chances are somebody in the world watching this channel is going to go, oh no, I can add to that. Just happened. Again. I really appreciate you. Big time. Thanks for that email. All right. This next one is called More Puzzle Pieces from Hawk. Remember a native friend whose dad or your uncle, sorry, had the relationship with the Sasquatch, the Sabe person, for many years. Here we have another email from him. Golden. Good morning, Steve. Hope you and yours are doing well. I sent in the next interaction my grandfather had with Scar after the fight with the bear, but you haven't read it yet. Yeah, actually I did. You missed it. I did read it. This happened in the late 19s to the early 1920s. I'm going to stay as close as I can to the order of events as possible as this lasts for 50 years. So until you get to my last email, I'll try to fill in some puzzle pieces. Tree knocks. I have heard the knocks, and I'm pretty sure some come from actually hitting a tree. They are loud and powerful, not hollow sounding. Some of what sounds like knocks they do with their tongue. Very loud and sounds more hollow than a tree knock. Scar showed my grandfather how they do it, and with time, my grandfather got pretty good at it too. If he was standing pretty close to you and did it, it would ring your ear. Every time after my grandfather would do it, right after he would stick his finger in his ear and dig at it like he had a bug or something in it. He tried to show me how to do it. He said to put the tip of my tongue tight against the back row of the top front teeth. He said it has to stay there or it won't work. Then push the rest of your tongue to the roof of your mouth and back into your throat. Breathe deep through your nose until you get a good airlock, and then roll your tongue loose from the back to front. I was only able to do it once, and I about panicked. I was just a kid, and I have a runny nose. I attempted to do it, and some snot came down the back of my throat, and I got the air lock. My tongue stuck to the roof and the back of my throat. I couldn't breathe. It finally came loose with a loud pop, and a bunch of snot came loose and ran down the back of my throat, and both my ears felt like they needed itched deep down inside. My grandfather said 1 knock was, "I'm over here," and 2 knocks was, "Stay there, I'll come to you." Another puzzle piece, tree structures. My grandfather said Scar told him they all had a tree structure that was unique to just one person. If they was out on a journey, it was like saying Scar was here, etc., or Scar lives here. And a clan structure that was unique to a specific clan, which they would use in the same way of notifying. A place with many tree structures in the area is a type of crossroads or meeting place. The women did not build tree structures. They would weave branches together into shapes and leave them. If they are looking for a mate, they would pee on them and leave them about. He never mentioned the tree breaks that I can remember. Scar said it was nice to come across a tree structure from someone he knew, and to know that he was in the area or had at least been there at some time. And here's one for you, Steve. In today's video, you talked about native elders saying to stay away from them. They are bad and evil. Don't look them in the eye. Run away. Guess what Scar's elders told him about us? Stay away from them. They are bad and evil. Don't look them in the eye. Just run away. They're killers. They fear us more than we know. They just want left alone. End of email. There you go. Another installment. Appreciate you, Mr. Hawk. You know, sometimes I'll hear things along the ride like that'll make me kind of go, huh? You know, when they said they'll pee on sticks and leave them for females. No, this is just me. This is just for me, and we're all sitting around the same coffee table, and we're all friends. So nobody get your freaking nuts tied in a knot. But that, I just have a real tough time with that one mention. Peeing on sticks for the females and leaving them. I mean, we have had First Nations friends, people who allegedly have been contacted with some of these beings saying flat out, the word on the street is flat out, one knows all know among them. There's no distance that affects that. That kind of makes a lot of sense to me. Also, if one knows all knows, and if they have mastered and use telepathy very smoothly and easily, peeing on a stick and leave it on the ground to attract a female sounds a little odd to me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's my 2 bits. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know, but from it's just very confusing as you try to put your puzzle pieces together and try to figure out some aspects of it. When you see these people acting more like an animal than not at times, and then other times you see them, they are acting just like a human being. You know what I mean? It can be very confusing if you're trying to look for that pattern, or if you're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And then if you're forced to accept the fact of what thousands of people are seeing, and we do have these beings successfully disappearing beside a tiny sapling, when we are taught, we are shown, and we know this for our existence is absolutely impossible, that your average human knows about, right? I don't know how I could hide behind a 4-inch sapling and disappear behind it, especially in night vision, being observed in night vision and pull that off. I don't have a freaking clue. How do you do that? And if I had the skills to do that, I'm pretty sure I don't need to pee on a stick and leave it on the ground hoping a chick's going to come across it and find it and look for me. That's all I'm saying. I'm just comparing it against the notes that I've taken in from the thousands of experiences people have had here. You know what I mean? But I'm still learning. Please send us more, if you would, and we can all take from it what we will or leave it. It's too easy without blowing a gasket. You know what I mean? Being able to discuss with each other. What? You don't agree with what I said? I can never talk to you ever again. Right? Oh boy. Oh, quick note before I forget. We stopped by the local feed store, got what we need, and I think a lot of people are curious as to how much. I forget. Sarah had it all down. It's everybody. It's like anything else. You have to do your own due diligence in anything, no matter what the heads up or the tip you receive in life. Right? Never just react because somebody that you haven't met before tells you something. You know what I mean? Just do your own due diligence. And it's easy to do, especially with what we do for our health. Anyway, it's all goes by weight. If you're to take, I'm saying it flat, I don't give a shit, it's ivermectin. If you take it, and we do get it from the feed store, end of story. I'm not ashamed to say shit. That's the truth, that's the fact, and it's been healing the shit out of everything for a lot of people close to us. That's a fact. Done deal for me. Take from it what you will or leave it. So she's the health nut. She said that 6 to 9 mils is about max for a human size person to take it. But she said that we have been taking 3 mils. And 3 mils of it has cleared up and healed everything. Although it says you can take 6 to 9. Okay? There you go. Passed it on before I forgot. I read a few comments. Was just sitting in the truck today shopping. And I ran it by here and she went to rattling off everything to me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to remember all this. But I just remembered. So we only take 3 mils. All right? And not normally. It's like when you got the symptoms of anything, we hit it. And it goes away. Next email, Vermont near Jay Peak. Hello, Steve and the Howd Hunt family. And a big happy barn day to Sarah, too. You've read a few emails from me in the past. One of them, I hope, never comes up as I used voice to text and it was full-on mess, lol. So I'm back living in Vermont and have found work that I love. I co-host and clean short-term rentals in the Jay Peak area of Vermont. When I started, it was extremely therapeutic for me as I had escaped a dangerous relationship, and the solitude and the cleaning eased my mind, and the pay isn't so bad as well, especially being that one of the tools the monster used was money. Anywho, on to the story of my most recent experience out in the woods cleaning rural properties. My daughter and I were at one of the most beautiful homes around, super modern, not at all like the other properties I take care of. This place is surrounded by woods and is nestled in such a way that the neighbors can't be seen, and the views are stunning. We were getting done and started to head out to the Jeep, and as I looked out the glass door, I was struck by the fact that I was looking at a, quote, predator, quote, thing up in the trees. I immediately turned to my daughter to have her look and to make sure I wasn't seeing things. She was acting nervous. As she said, she already has seen it, and she wasn't going to point it out to me as it made her nervous. It was approximately 15 to 20 feet away up in a dead tree or near it. She noticed it as she had already been out to the Jeep to load supplies, and this is recount of the experience. After getting done the clean and head outside, I automatically noticed that it was silent. No birds, anything. For half a second, I looked up between 2 branches. It almost looked like a heat haze, but it was only between the branches, about 20 feet plus up. Within these 3 seconds of thought, my mom noticed it. I didn't necessarily get overwhelmed with fear, but a little bugged out for sure. I was trying to knock it off at heat, but it was only the one spot, and the tree's dead. The thoughts racing through my mind and out of my mouth were, holy shit, that's a curious bugger to get so close like that. I wasn't scared, probably because I wasn't alone. Sometimes I am. Side note, it was cold out. Very productive, good skiing weather. Couldn't have been any warmer than 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Being a knower and working in these rural wooded properties, I know they are there. I just hadn't experienced it that close yet. I often say out loud when I go alone to these places, I do not want to be scared. So if you're going to show yourself, please do not make me afraid. And so far that's worked. I still have strange things happen, but nothing that stops me from going to any of the properties. Then last summer I heard a crazy metallic whistling sound at another property that did bug me out. I was happy I was on the second floor for sure. It lasted several minutes and it was extremely creepy. One of my all-time favorite places that is no longer a short-term rental has an interesting story. When I met the owner, she asked me if I ever saw anything at her cabin. I had not. However, I did not disclose to her that the cabin had been banged on while I was in it cleaning before. So, the owner told me an interesting story that occurred in the winter of 23-24, before I started working for the property manager, and here it goes. A young lady booked this cabin at around 9 o'clock at night, instantly using the Airbnb app. She got in and was getting settled when she noticed footprints in the snow coming from the direction of their shed, approximately 50 to 75 feet away. They came up to the cabin and up onto the deck that was closed and boarded on the stairs for safety reasons. The board on those stairs is at least 40 inches off the ground. Whoever it was stepped over the board, and there were a few prints, and when they went down on the other boarded staircase, and then they went down the other boarded staircase and went off into the woods. The young lady messaged the host asking who lived in the shed and described the prints. The host told her it was just a shed and no one lived in it. Apparently the woman had lit up the footprints with her flashlight and was very upset and wanted to leave, but had nowhere else to go. The host understood her anxiety and was a little surprised that she rented it at all, as it is down a dark dirt road and remote. She offered her another location that was just down the dirt road and on the main road. The owner told this story to me. The girl was scared, and it must have taken every bit of courage to make the dash from the door to the cabin to the truck to get out of there. I know what it was. She didn't say if she did. There are other neighbors around, so I think she thought it may have been a nosy neighbor. I hope that young lady is a viewer of this channel, and I hope she writes in to tell her story. That's all for now, and yes, you can use my name, Tara Woodruff. Please send me your mailing address. I have something I created that I've been wanting to send your way for a couple of years. I hope you're right on point, and you are right on point concerning the political power shit going on right now. Sincerely, Tara. Okay, I appreciate that email, Tara. Keep us updated. We'll see. Maybe she is following the channel. You never know. You never know. Who's next? And I appreciate that kind gesture. And hopefully I'll remember to dig up your email here and I'll send you my address. But I just don't encourage people to do that. This next email is titled The Veil. The reason we can't see or don't know what's on the other side is because this life is a test to see if we'll be good or bad. It's not what we have in this life. It's what we do with what we have that is important, and what determines our growth or deterioration. Will we list to obey the light inside us, or will we shut it out and follow our carnal nature? That is the question our Maker has given us. You are definitely a hero to me, my brother. My prayers and appreciation to you for the man you are. Your brother from another mother, Scott Hardy in Southern Utah. Scott, appreciate that kind words and appreciate that message to the people, man. Good one. And I've heard that and looked into that in the past as well. And it just might be the way it's going to be. There's a lot of people out there that got to clue in to concentrate on being good and helping people, not being a miserable prick, right? What do we got here? What is next? Mark this as red. Operational Covert intel. This info is from Hal Turner, which I subscribe to. Okay, don't know him, never heard of him. And it says, take it for what it's worth. This content is for subscribers only. Yesterday, I was made... So was this a quote from this dude or something? Maybe, I don't know. Yesterday, I was made... Okay, what's the date on this? March 25th. Yesterday, I was made aware that the United States had deployed 3 B-2 stealth bombers to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. That puts them within range of both Yemen and Iran. Even though this was also rumored over social media, I chose not to report it because I don't want to endanger our troops or a mission. Some relevant facts. As of 2024, the U.S. Air Force has 19 B-2 stealth bombers in service, after one was destroyed in a 2008 crash and another damaged in a 2022 crash was retired due to the high cost of repair. Given we only have 19 of these super high-tech bombers, putting 3 of them somewhere is a big deal. Today, I have found out that 4 more B-2 stealth bombers left for Diego Garcia overnight. Folks, that's a total of 7 B-2 stealth bombers, out of only 19 in the world, all gathered on Diego Garcia. My gut tells me this is big, bigger than big. Something huge is about to take place, and I don't think it's bombing the Houthis in Yemen. My personal view, based upon nothing more than my gut, is that we are going to attack Iran soon, very soon, maybe even tonight. If this takes place, it is already a known fact that Iran will try to close the Strait of Hormuz, which will send oil prices skyrocketing and gasoline prices at the pump heading toward $10, maybe $12 a gallon. More for diesel fuel. The impact on our economy will be staggering. If you have gas cans, I strongly suggest you fill them up today. If you don't have any gas cans, I suggest you get some today. The United States of America does not position 7 of its most expensive, most high-tech bombers halfway around the world to posture. They put those planes out when they're going to be used. This is way serious. More. Iran is a military ally of Russia and a BRICS economic ally of both Russia and China. Both Russia and China have openly, publicly stated they will not stand by and allow Iran to be attacked. If the U.S. and or Israel goes ahead with an attack upon Iran, the reaction by both Russia and China could be to put an end to the United States and our shenanigans. Top off your food, water, and medicine preps today. More info if I get it. All right. Give me 1 second. Just doing a quick snoop, which is quite easy. If you know where to snoop. It's actually, you don't have to go to a YouTube channel to get that information. It's readily available if you know how to dig a little bit. So, here's what I got on my own. As of March 25th, 2025, the United States Air Force has deployed at least 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers to Diego Garcia, a strategically located island in the Indian Ocean. This deployment represents a significant portion, over 1/3 of the U.S. Air Force operational B-2 fleet. There you go. Well, there's a couple more. I'll just read the rest. What the hell? The B-2 bombers originating from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri have been arriving at Diego Garcia over the past few days. This movement coincides with increased U.S. military operations in the Middle East, particularly targeting Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. Given the sensitive nature of military operations, the exact number of B-2 bombers currently deployed and their specific missions are subject to change and may not be publicly disclosed in real time. There you go. So, what does that mean to me? Well, I don't know, you guys. I mean, I think I made this clear over the past couple of years, few years. I've done everything I can personally to ensure that my home, our food, everything is going to be secure. We're good. I've done everything I can do next to eliminating threats from another country or whatever, right? I've done it all. I've got everything covered. I'm not what you might call what do they call those people? Sorry, my brain's a little slow right now. I'm kind of tired, but the preppers. I'm not a prepper. I just use my common sense. I have all my gas jugs. I got to get them filled up. Coincidentally, only because the regime in control of Canada right now is raising our fuel taxes alone 20% on April 1st. So I gotta go fill up all the containers that I have just to counter that hit. As far as wars coming, I think a lot of people. I've talked to people all the time. I talk to a lot of very intelligent people who I trust all the time. I'm not trying to scare anybody, and I don't. But I don't. There's not too many people I speak to right now that don't have a funny, odd, unsettling feeling that something's coming. I got it. I'll admit it. I got it. Something's coming. Everything's coming to a head pretty quick. It can't not. It just can't not if you've been following what's going on instead of fighting with each other. Right? Instead of fighting with each other. Instead of arguing with LGB, whatever the hell you want to call them, or anybody else of this shit that's been planted in our communities to make sure we fight and maintain being focused on ridiculous bullshit while all this heavy stuff's really going down and has been going down. Right? As most people know, the price of gold will tell you how things are doing around the world, and if the price of gold is dropping, it's just probably pretty cool. But the price of gold is higher than it's ever been and is climbing like crazy. So that's a red flag right there when you know what that's related to. But I know we have some real dark shit going down. Without a doubt. You know? Many people are aware, but sadly, far too many aren't. It's such a frustrating thing to watch, and to watch so many people being so clueless of what's going on with their home. So many people will try to ignore it and rattle it off and go, I don't talk politics. We don't pay any attention to that shit. Just like you were programmed to say perfectly. They've done well with you. Because that's not what it is. The reality is, this is your lifetime and your children's future, and this is your home. This is the same oxygen we all breathe. That's the end of the story. It all affects you. It's just you don't want to ignore it, you don't want to deal with it, and you don't want to do anything to prevent it. The Walking Dead, as far as I'm concerned. Whatever. But I mean, there's not much I can really say here, or do. I've done everything I can to be prepared to keep us safe as I can, and hope for the best. Hope and pray for the best, right? We'll see what comes. We'll see what comes. I keep tabs on everything globally 24/7 myself. We'll see what happens. Now, who is next? More truth, more voices. I love hearing from everybody, because who knows? You never know. With the way shit's going on these days, my Starlink might end tomorrow. The internet might end tomorrow for a given amount of time. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to miss one day. I'm going to keep on going as long as I can. This next email is titled Explosions in the Cold. Steve, I hesitate to share this one. I know you're a busy dude and bit off a massive undertaking by sharing the people's stories. When I'm determined to do something, there's no stopping. And I can tell you're the same. And this job you picked is a huge, brother. God bless you for it. Yeah, it's a pretty good one, huh? We're getting her done. A few years back, we had a bitter winter in Michigan. It was minus 30, without wind, and people were advised to stay inside. A few friends and I decided that it would be a good weekend for winter survival camping. A word to the wise, don't bring a foam pillow winter camping. It turned rock hard and got me up at about 2 a.m. You took a pillow camping? That's cheating. I crawled out of the tent and got the fire stoked up. I sat there for about an hour when I heard what sounded like a tree exploding. It got my attention very fast in the dead quiet, and after the initial excitement, I thought it must be a frost crack, a really loud one. The first one is from the northwest. The second one came from the north. Grabbed my rifle and posted up outside a camp. I had a gut alarm going off at this point. It's pretty tough for those frosty bark pops to make you jump like that with a gun. We've all heard those pops before. Another one popped off. Still going clockwise around camp. Red flag. My buddy shows up with his rifle, and we sit and listen as it cracks around camp to the south and stops. We both feel that this isn't just cold trees. It seemed to be traveling with intent. We tell the other guys when they woke up and get mocked, of course. I didn't see anything, didn't smell anything. Nose is pretty frozen. I did get that awful fear put in me, and I sure as hell heard something. Could it have been just a strange coincidence of frost cracks? Sure. Didn't hear any other ones in the woods nearby, though. We both know there's more than meets the eye out there, and I feel like whatever the hell was doing that was messing with us. All too common of a theme in the stories we hear here. If you find yourself in Michigan and needing a beverage, I got one or two for you. We could talk freely about fixing Western civilization then. Take care and thank you, John. Appreciate you, man. I'm on board. We're on board. We're in the same boat. I got you. There you go. Anybody who lives in the north, we all know what the bark sounds like when it pops, and it doesn't scare the shit. It doesn't travel in a circle, and yeah, you know what it was. You know what it was. Holy, this one's a book. All right, no, it's too late to get into that. To start with that one. Sorry, it's too late to start that one. Excuse me. What else? Oh, we got another one that's a mile long. All right, those two are going to be for tomorrow. It might just be the only two read tomorrow. What's this one? Oh, well, what the hell? Might as well read this. Then this will be my last share. RCMP secret memo warns Canada is on the brink of economic and social collapse. I'd say all of North America. A secret report from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police paints a dire picture of Canada's future. Well, I guess it's not so secret then, is it? One, where economic collapse, declining living standards, and widespread civil unrest are no longer a hypothetical. The report titled, quote, Whole of Government 5-Year Trends, end quote, for Canada, was never meant for public eyes, containing, quote, special operational information, end quote, distributed only among top government decision makers and law enforcement. Its conclusion? Canadians are running out of money, running out of hope, and once they realize the depth of their economic despair, could revolt. Do you think? This is why Canada is suddenly criminalizing certain firearms ownership. They know what's coming. Without a doubt. That's 100%. The coming period of recession will accelerate the decline in living standards that the younger generations have already witnessed compared to earlier generations. The report states, it warns that many Canadians under 35 are unlikely ever to be able to buy a place to live. They can't do it right now. It's next to impossible. It's basically impossible. In other words, an entire generation has been priced out of the dream their parents took for granted. This isn't alarmism. It's backed by hard data. Canada's economy is failing, and the government knows it. The proof? Canada's economic stagnation. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, formed in 1961, is an intergovernmental organization that works to promote economic growth and world trade. Recent data from the OECD reveals just how catastrophically Canada has mismanaged its economy. Do you think? Since 2015, real GDP per capita, the best measure of how an economy benefits individual citizens, has grown by a miserable 1.4%. This puts Canada second to last among all OECD countries, only ahead of Luxembourg, which actually shrank. To put that into perspective, over the same period, the United States grew by 18.2%. The OECD average was 13.6%. This means that if Canada has simply kept pace with the US productivity growth, the average Canadian would be earning $5,500 more a year. The International Monetary Fund shows even worse financial performance from Canada. Canada per capita economic growth laggard for 10 years. Canada 0.5%, Germany 4.7%, Finland 6.7%, Norway 7.4%, UK 7.7%, Australia 8.1%, France 8.2%, Japan 8.7%, Sweden 10.5%, Italy 13.2%, Netherlands 14.1%, Spain 17.8%, Denmark 18.9%, US 20.7%. Canada's economic stagnation is not an accident. It's a direct result of reckless government policy. Ottawa has prioritized mass immigration over economic productivity, flooding the country with over 1.2 million new people in 2023 alone, despite a housing shortage, overwhelmed healthcare system, and stagnant wages. Meanwhile, the government continues to suffocate industry in pursuit of climate extremism with carbon taxes, ESG mandates, while funneling billions into the unaccountable climate slush funds. And while Canadians struggle to make ends meet, the government has grown into a bloated parasitic entity consuming more wealth than it creates. The number of federal employees has exploded by over 108,000 since 2015. This isn't sustainable. The more socialist Canada becomes, the worse life gets. Government-controlled economics have turned a once-thriving country into a stagnant, overtaxed mess, where home ownership is out of reach, wages are stagnant, and personal wealth is eroded by inflation and bureaucratic waste. The United States knows this too, which is why President Trump is already telling Canadians they should become the 51st state. It has nothing to do with animosity toward Canada or even expansionist dreams of the U.S. The Liberal governments of Canada have already destroyed the nation. It just has not yet manifested itself at levels the public can really see. That manifestation is now unavoidable. Direct link to our CMP report here. And there you go. In a nutshell, what a stimulating, fun email to close on today, huh? Yeah, but it's truth. It's truth that needs to be said out loud. I was already aware of this a while back, but it's the truth. It's funny, I was listening to a man yesterday on the PBD, or no, last night at around 2 in the morning, I think, listening to a French-Canadian politician on the PBD podcast talking about things similar to this and talking about the mass migration, how fertility rates have absolutely dove in Canada. Nobody can afford to have a kid. Nobody's having babies. They're not doing it. And then immigration was supposed to help bolster the population, get some young people over here, going to schools and learning and having families. Well, they're not. They're not bringing any children over here at all. They never have. It's all been males, aged 30 years plus, and they're not having kids. And then they made us also share the fact that, here's an easy one. You could probably pick any trade, but currently, you guys know how much it is to operate machinery or a truck. Let's say a truck, right? New tires, service, broken parts, buying a new one, right? Getting those contracts. How much it is, how much fuel is today, how much everything is today, right? Well, guess what? Because of the immigration, bringing people from third world countries to flood into our country and the United States, right now, just the wages for being a truck driver are the same as they were in 1982. Right? There you go. That's a fact. That's the way it is. And there's no housing and you can't afford shit around here. Where I moved from, the sea to sky, especially. I mean, right now, you could barely buy a shipbox 1988 rectangle 2-floor house with no land around it Well, you can get one for like a $1.7 million right now. Right? Just over the hill in Pemberton and Whistler, of course, but that doesn't even count. That's like Fantasy World Whistler. But in Pemberton, I think right now, just to get a shitty basement suite, maybe a parking spot for one vehicle, and a shitty 2-bedroom basement suite right now is renting around $2,500 to $3,500 a month just for the rent, not including the cost of fuel, which goes up 20% in the first. Groceries are right out to lunch. The cost of food is completely off the chart insane. I am very, very fortunate to be in the position I am, but I've worked hard all my life to get to where I am. And maybe I was possibly anticipating shit. I don't know. I mean, we predominantly grow our own meat. We don't buy meat. Fish, game, chicken, turkeys. But every year in the town of Pemberton, now they're building new houses across this whole winter, what was wicked wintering ground for game. And they put all these new homes on there, and they're all going from an average $3, $4, $5, $6 million to buy one. And there's nowhere to live there at all, no suites. And every single year, there's another graduation class from the high school there. Every year, a whole brand new class graduates. And that's all I think about. I think, oh my God, these poor kids, where are they going to go? Right? Especially in that one example, that one small town, Pemberton. It's beautiful. That's where I live. I took you guys all over the place there. You think about these kids that grew up there, went to school, they got all their friends there, and they graduate. What are they going to do? The future is dire. There's no future. There's basically, for the young people today, there's no foreseeable future. That's a fact. That's what that small amount of people have done to us, right? It's real sad. It's real shitty. And that's why I've been pumping out these videos on the other channel and on Instagram. Because I can. At least I can rally the troops. At least I can just keep ringing that bell. Keep ringing that alarm bell. Talking out loud, not being afraid. But it all has to come to a head. It is coming to a head, right? Sadly, it may come to a head that we have had happen, what? How many generations does it happen when finally the globe pops and everybody just kills the shit out of each other? Hopefully it's not coming, but it's not looking too good, right? I've been ringing that bell for a long time. Every now and then, because I want to drive everybody bonkers, because so many people don't want to acknowledge, but man, we'll see what comes, right? But anyways, let's just leave on this. No matter what, okay? No matter what, please, 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 please do what you love to do. Make sure you do what you love to do, no matter what, okay? If it's for 2 hours, if it's for one day, a weekend, I don't give a shit. Just make sure you do what you love to do. And make sure if you have children, bring them and make sure you do what they love to do. Not looking at a screen, something else, but you know what I mean? Because as soon as you lose that, that's it. As soon as you lose doing what you love to do, that's it. Right? There you go. Do what you love to do. Do not fear anyone and do not comply. Do not comply. And if you own some items that somebody thinks you shouldn't, don't give them away. Possibly go in the opposite direction. If somebody thinks that there's some items that you shouldn't have, get twice as many as you got. That's what I can say with confidence. All right? There you go. I'll be back tomorrow. Let's give you some happy kids tomorrow. Let's give you some happy tummies tomorrow. All because of you. All because of all of you. There's going to be some real happy tummies tomorrow. Excuse me. I was saying to Sarah, I just cannot imagine. I can't imagine the frustration and how scary it must be right now with the cost of food, to be in a position right now of not being able to afford food right now. And that's not including what's coming in, a week or something? When the Canadian regime, the criminals, try to take another 20% from the people. This place is going to pop. And if it doesn't pop, well, I don't know. Maintain the course. Keep helping each other, right? All we got is each other. Keep helping each other. Do not fear anyone. Do not comply. Do what you love to do. All right? We'll turn it around. Just don't quit. Back tomorrow.